For older children, the challenge will have to be faced of growing up to tackle a European lifestyle very different from ours. The school curriculum, designed to channel the vigorous energies of these children, will undergo gradual change to equip pupils for the impact of a Europe whose influence should be positive and broadening, according to Sylvia Meehan, who remains Vice Principal of Cabinteely School while seconded full-time to the Equality Agency. Does the EEC help at all in increasing awareness of Europe?
Yes, the EEC is first of all aware of the link between education and working life and provides funds for projects which examine that. It also provides funds for research, such as we will be examining in the agency. That is an examination of subjects in the curriculum and how the choices of boys and girls are affected by our own institutions. In that way we can examine our curriculum and perhaps improve it.
Well, actually, seeing that we are talking about Europe now, or nearer home, and you do know we have a common market, don't you? Yes. And we're members of it. Well, we call it...
Taking a rare break from the restrictions of learning only for examinations, these second-year students are brought together to explore with geography teacher Sean McMahon what membership of Europe is all about.
But could you tell me, have you any idea why the various countries in Europe bothered to get together to make a sort of a common...
So that they could try together, and that countries that were so close needn't have to pay taxes when they're going between the two countries.
Yes.
Because they wanted to be like the larger countries like America and Russia.
You've done a maze yourselves before. You've traced a maze, haven't you? Yeah. Well, you can see the start of that maze, can you? Yeah. It starts with National Parliament, which of course in Ireland is the Dáil, yes. And in Britain it's the House of Commons, isn't it? And so on. Now, the National Parliament then elects members to the national government. So we've got a government made from the representatives in the Dáil. And then the national governments appoint representatives to the Council of Ministers, do you see that? Yeah. And also to the Court of Justice and to the Commission. Yeah. Okay. Well, of course, that is the situation as it exists at the moment. But as you know, on June the 7th, that's going to change. And it's going to be something very like it, but just slightly different. Instead of being the Parliament, National Parliament, nominating members, this European Parliament will be elected exactly the same as this Parliament, that is simply by the people. All right. Now, can I get people in there? You can see what I mean. Now, do you understand that? Yeah. It's a very simple thing, but then it just means that it's going to give us a little more say. Helena, do you think that becoming more of a European, which you are at the moment, do you think that that's going to make you less of an Irish person?
No, I think that you were born an Irish person, and I think you will always stay an Irish person, even if you do move to, say, Europe, any country in Europe. Like, you might get a European citizenship, but you will always be an Irish person.
76. 76. Yes. And on its own, number 4. All the 7s. 77.
The Old Folks Club in Tallaght has a day centre for recreation. This building, St Dominic's, houses a range of social and advice services run by dedicated professionals and volunteers. Here they're helping old folk to pass the time. But in this group, there is a lot of wisdom and experience still to be tapped.
46. 46. 17. 17.
Well, who's winning here?
7, 8.
This is the favourites who get the bottle tops, huh?
5, 6. Legs.
And you play here until
11.
1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Lunchtime, 12:30 anyway. Yeah.
4, 6.
So you were in Glen Abbey for how many years?
46.
20 years.
20 years.
Do you ever play cards?
57.
I love cards.
Yeah.
Some of them don't play cards. I play cards all night.
Yeah, I love cards myself.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah. They get more out of you, I think.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What do you play?
25.
Oh, that's it, yeah. It's really the best one for everybody joining in, I think, you know.
48.
Get some sharks, the one that we murdered.
Here? Oh, you don't pay it here?
60. 68.
Did you win all that already? This morning?
5.
I won't ask you what you're going to spend it on.
One for Paul and one
On
for
its
myself.
own number
Very
9.
nice. Oh, you're playing for him as well.
He's not able to use it.
Mary, tis. Mary has it, yeah. Oh, she mustn't have noticed there was 6-1. That's house. Now we check. Very good, Mary. Good girl. That's it. Is that okay?
Well, they were certainly enjoying themselves, Sylvia, but not feeling very useful, I imagine.
Well, they need a place just like we do to be in comfort and to talk to each other, but it is an example of the way we categorise individuals and then leave them there and separate them from us. The people we were talking to in there aren't just old people, full stop. In the childcare centre, we saw the vast range of abilities that the children have, and we just hope that the educational system won't hinder that. But these people not only have a range of abilities, they have skills, and they have good humour, they have tolerance, and they have wisdom, which should be linked into the childcare centre and to the educational systems. They could do an enormous number of jobs in administration, reception, talking to people, and in some of the caring. But what have we done? We cut them away, and this is a country, as you know, where the population very soon is going to be more than half under 25. And what we're doing about it, we're telling the young people who are going to think of you and me as the old folk very soon, that they should categorise, separate, and not learn from each other. And it's something that Centre made me think about.
Community workers in Tallaght are labouring hard to minimise the difficulties here, some of which arise from leaving the future in the hands of developers who may ignore the basic needs of the people who have to live here. Makeshift services instead of built-in provisions for an integrated community could create more social problems. So Sylvia Meehan stresses that we may all have to do the reshaping ourselves.
Going into Europe has brought changes in trade, in employment, in daily lives. Direct elections will cement our status as citizens in Europe. We can share ideas, look at other people's alternatives, and choose from among a greater number of solutions. But we must plan now. Not sit around and wait to see what will happen. We must commit ourselves to building a healthy and wholesome existence, because the quality of life is about people. It's not about goods and chattels.
We've seen the need for change, and quick change at that, in many areas of our lives in Ireland. But there's no use sticking our heads in the sand. We're on the European Express, and if we don't like the direction, instead of reaching for the emergency cord, we should look to modifying that direction and adapting ourselves if necessary. Certainly, the institutions of Europe, the Commission, the Parliament, have had an effect on our lives through rulings and directives and so on. But the best way to guide and direct change is to keep an open mind. A critical mind, certainly, but not automatically rejecting whatever might be strange and new. At present, Ireland is not a plural society of ideas and values, but Europe is. We're in the institutions of the common market. Now let's plan to embrace and enhance the mind of Europe.